All right, we're ready to start today's post-race media availability with the race winner of today's Pit Boss 250 presented by USA Today at Circuit of the Americas. We have AJ Allmendinger, driver of the number 10 Celsius Chevrolet for Colleague Racing. We're going to go straight to questions for AJ. Please raise your hand.
I have one question first.
You have a question?
Yeah, because I did an interview earlier today, and the person I did the interview with said if I won, he was going to do he was going to sing live for everybody in the media center. So Rob, what? We'll do that after I'm done with this. Honestly, I don't know if I need to hear it, but he said he would. So he's taking requests. He said his favorite song to sing is Sir Mix-a-Lot, Baby Got Back.
All right, well, we'll get through the Q&A first, and then we'll get to that. All right, we'll open it up to questions. We'll start here with Bob, and then we'll go to Rob, and then Holly.
Bob Parker's Fox Sports. Did you think you were doomed when you got spun? And then can you also take us through the contact with Sheldon, who felt like he gave you enough room?
Well, the first question, Bob. Yeah, I wasn't sure how the race was going to play out with no stage breaks now. You're not really sure what strategy everybody's going to kind of play on. I knew we had a really fast car, but it was about trying to get back up there and how the race was going to play out. If it just went straight out green, I didn't know what was going to happen. I knew we had one pit stop to go. I was more worried when I first got out of the wreck. I thought I had damage to the car because there was a lot of smoke inside the car. So I was more worried about that at first, and then I kind of the fenders cleared themselves, and I kind of realized, okay, the car's okay at least. So just trying to get back up there. And then, I hate having contact for the lead like that. It's not something that, I get really excited about. He was struggling through the triple right-hander, and I tried to make a move in the left-hander and made sure I stayed off him, and we got slid in behind him, and he was struggling, and I popped out and thought, I'm here at least, and it's just a tough angle. When I turned in, I thought I had made a point that I was far enough alongside. He turned in, and it's just a kind of a tight corner, at least the grip side of the racetrack. So, if William wasn't right behind me, I'd have probably been more patient, but I kind of felt like whoever got to the lead first might be the guy that won the race. So I knew I needed to be aggressive, and I as it happened, I just took like a couple laps to kind of get the energy back inside me. He was doing a great job. I know it doesn't help him at all, so it's not what I want. I thought I was far enough along and thought I was turning in early enough, and he was still turning to make the corner and just contact. So he has all the right to be mad. I thought I was there, but it's the way it goes. Everybody's got opinions about it, so it's not the way I wanted to take the lead.
We'll go to Rob and then Holly.
Rob T. Youngson from the podiumfinish.net. AJ, it was such a rough and tumble race, but without the cautions between the stages, how much of a game changer was that for you to make your rally back to the front? And also, too, when Chris Rice kind of got upset, you were talking earlier about having cohesiveness. What was your role in the radio to get everyone to calm down and kind of focus on getting back to the win?
Well, that's news to me because he was on the second channel screaming, so I'd never heard it, so I was fine. But yeah, it's that first yellow flew kind of like rated a tough time, right? Because it was going to split the strategy up. We had made just a decision that we were going to pit on lap 15. That was our first pit stop to get through the first kind of stage, and that was what we were going to run to. And it worked out well because even when I restarted with those guys on new tires, I was still able to pull away. So I knew my car was good. But once that second caution hurt because it allowed them to stay out and me have to restart in the middle of the pack, and then that's what happens on a restart. You just get kind of pile driven into the field. So it's part of it. I knew being back there that's something that's going to happen, especially the way this turn one is. So once I kind of calmed down, because I thought the car was damaged, and that was the frustrating thing. Once I calmed down and realized the car was okay, then it was just about trying to make back up to the lead, and we had a really good restart in the next one to kind of get right on the edge of the top 10 right away, and I could see we were starting to run them down. So the damage, all the damage we had would definitely hurt the speed of the race car, but was just good enough there at the end.
AJ,
Holly?
do you almost feel at this point that you could come back and win one of these road course races no matter what gets thrown at you? Because today was not an easy one. You've had many that are not easy, and you're just amazing on the road courses. I mean, talk a little bit about the confidence that you have despite something like what happened today.
Well, the first green flag run gave me a lot of confidence. You know, that was, I knew the 17 was going to be really fast. I thought he might be the car to beat on the long run. But that first run, the car was so good on old tires. It's probably the best car we've ever had in a long run, just because, you know, we've always fought kind of losing the rear tires as the run goes on, and I could manage the lap times the whole time, and whenever I wanted, I could pull a half second to 3/4 of a second. So that gave me a lot of confidence, saying, okay, like, we might have the setup today. And, you know, I think it's more than anything that you just know that with these, especially the Xfinity race, but Cup races are the same way. You get restarts like that and the strategy gets mixed up. You got to just be ready that you might get caught up in something. So, yeah, once the restart, when I had to restart 25th after the wreck, I got a really good restart, and I could still see the leaders, and I thought, okay, now you can just reset this race inside your head and start trying to pick them off one by one, and we were still catching the leaders as that was happening, so that definitely helped a lot.
Go ahead.
Hey, AJ. Wyatt Watson with FrontStretch.com. That last long run to the checkered flag wasn't easy with William Byron right behind you. What did it take to keep him behind you during that last run?
Yeah, I mean, it was he's arguably one of the best right now, if not the best, right? Winning a couple of Cup races on the pole tomorrow. We know what that race car is. So the thing that I was really struggling with was with the damage, I started overheating the front brakes. And because of that, it was getting tighter and tighter. The front end was, and then I was having to use the rear tires up to try to help the car turn. So that was the biggest struggle. I knew I kind of had the pace, but with 5 to go, the pedal was starting to get soft, and it was just real easy to lock up the front tires. And every time I did that, I was getting just slower and slower at apex. So 3 to go, I never looked in the mirror, and I tried to put as hard as I could, lap in as perfect as I could, and I came off 20, coming to 2 to go, and I thought, okay, that was a good lap, and I looked in my mirror, and he was closer, and I was like, crap, this is going to be tough. But I knew the sections I could watch him and see where he was quick, so I just knew I had to try to hit those sections as good as I could, and luckily, that first half of the last lap I nailed and was able to get like a 5-6 car length gap, so I knew he couldn't get to my bumper at least. And that made all the difference in the world.
Any additional questions for AJ? Go ahead, Chris.
Chris Knight, CatchNS.com. AJ, how do you feel about your car tomorrow? And how do you feel like experiencing what's like to race without cautions at stage break? How do you think that'll plan out for the Cups?
Yeah, we got better today, Chris. Yesterday was bad. I mean, it was really bad. We were struggling. Squid and all the guys made good changes in qualifying. We still need to be better. Like what the times that Reddick and Byron or William put in qualifying, that was another level than we have right now. But we at least got it closer. We're going to make some changes going into tomorrow. You know, we're definitely on the Cup side a little bit off on just outright speed, but at least we're in the ball game. I liked today that I went quickest on my 3rd lap on tires, which yesterday we were just using the rear tires up, first lap out. So we got it closer. I don't know if it's a race-winning car, but I think we can fight inside the top 10 and at least give ourselves a shot, and we see how these races play out. You just got to be there at the end, and you at least have a shot at it.
We'll go to Trey in the middle. We'll get a mic to you, Trey.
AJ, Trey here from iHeart. Were you surprised that there weren't as many track limits, penalties? There weren't any actually, and there was so much talk about that all this weekend. It looked like there were a bunch of cars that kind of went off the racing groove.
Yeah, it's that section's just tough. Like I wish we had more. We have guidelines, right? We know what 4 tires off, but it's so much time if you can be right on the ragged edge of straight shooting it and not getting called for it, or being right on the edge of actually being legal. And I mean, you can make up a half second through that section by just doing that. So, the way I try to race is you don't want to be so close that you are the guy that they have to make a decision on, because once they make the call, you're not going to fight it. It's their call. I wish we had curbing there to at least give us guidelines, and if you get shoved off, or you make a mistake, that's your own fault. But it is what it is, and you just try to be as smart as possible. I think it comes down to when you're chasing somebody, you take a little bit more. But when I was leading, I was just trying to be smart and never be on that edge of them having to make a call on me.
AJ, I have a question that was texted to me. What was your philosophy on choosing lanes, since you often wanted the inside lane while the team wanted you on the outside lane?
Yeah, so the inside still can be better, but I didn't expect the first start to be like we were racing for the last lap there. I shouldn't have not been shocked by it, but it's like they come blitzing in there, and I was like, okay. And then the second restart, so what got me in trouble there was I took the inside lane. I thought it was fine, and I think it was a 48 right at the last second. Went basically as far left as possible, and once you get put in the middle, you're just in a bad spot. So after that, took the outside a couple times. I still think up front it's better to be on the inside, but I just gave too much room, I guess, and allowed somebody to get to the inside of me. That's what you can't do, is let somebody fully get to the inside of you, because now you're 4 wide in the middle, and you're just kind of at will of what happens. So, tomorrow could be a little different, could be the same.
All right, anything final for AJ? All right, AJ, congrats on the win. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you, guys.